Penguin's men, ex-military, armed with automatic weapons, are sprinting for the exits, and they're not being chased by anything recognizable.
Why is this already like so more intense than any other character? Gru and his minions are actually dangerous for real though.
The things moving through the lounge are short, yellow, and laughing. They're absorbing gunfire and laughing. So the question isn't who did this. The footage answers that. The question is what kind of biology lets a creature take a point-blank burst from an assault rifle and treat it.
I didn't know they were that durable.
Gru has, on record, punched a great white shark hard enough to send it airborne. A great white in that size range weighs close to 1,000 kilograms. The kinetic output required to do that isn't superhuman in the loose comic book sense. It's genuinely extraordinary by any physics-based measure. We're talking about several thousand newtons of force delivered in a fraction of a second. Batman's armor absorbed the hit, and he's still conscious, which says something about that suit.
Could Batman survive Gru and the minions? So it looks like nerd science is about to be on his like everything type deal, like, cause Despicable Me, I mean, oh dude, oh, if we could get some nerd science Incredibles stuff, yo, nerd science, if you see this, Incredibles, please, let's get the Incredibles against like Marvel heroes or DC heroes or anything really, because I would really love to see some nerd science Incredible stuff. I think that'd be fun. Matter of fact, I might just type it in myself. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. What do you guys think? Could Batman survive Gru and the minions? With certain animated characters, they really are broken. Like if we go back to Looney Tunes characters or like Mickey Mouse, you know, any character like that, all those characters are broken. Like they're all busted. They all would wipe the DC and Marvel universe instantly. As hilarious as that sounds, it it really is like that though. For Gru and the minions, I don't know. They're a little bit lesser than Looney Tunes characters, etc, you know, those types of characters, whatever you want to call them, like the Toon Force or whatever. Hit that like button, hit that sub button if you haven't already. Could Batman survive Gru and the minions? I really hope he does Incredibles though. That would be fire.
Iceberg Lounge is gone. Not burned, not flooded, gone. Batman walks through what used to be Penguin's most heavily fortified operation in Gotham, and the floor crunches under his boots because every inch of it is covered in spent shell casings, thousands of them. The guards emptied everything they had into this room, and there are no bodies. Not one. No blood, no drag marks, no sign that a single round connected with anything alive. The security footage is still running on a cracked monitor in the corner. Batman watches it once, then watches it again. Penguin's men, ex-military, armed with automatic weapons, are sprinting for the exits, and they're not being chased by anything recognizable.
Why is this already like so more intense than any other character that has gone against Batman? Like, why does this already seem like Gru and his minions are actually dangerous for real though?
The things moving through the lounge are short, yellow, and laughing. They're absorbing gunfire and laughing. So the question isn't who did this. The footage answers that. The question is what kind of biology lets a creature take a point-blank burst from an assault rifle and treat it.
I didn't know they were that durable when it comes to like a bullet. But then again, you know, in the Despicable movies, in the Despicable Me movies, like they're not getting shot at either by like bullets and guns, at least. I've only seen like the first and second one, I think. So I don't know the later movies because I know they have like 3 or 4 of them. I don't know. But you guys can let me know down in the comments below. Like, yeah, I love the first movie. The first movie was so good.
Like a light drizzle, Batman descends into the vault, and that's where he finds one of them, still there.
He's probably like, oh, this thing is so adorable.
That's why Progressive Snapshot personalized.
The Iceberg Lounge Massacre. It's pinned under a collapsed steel beam that probably weighs 400 kilograms. It's singing. Batman pulls the beam off, and the creature sits up. blinks at him through its single goggled eye, and goes right back to humming. No bruising, no fractures, not even a scuff on the denim overalls. He runs a full bioscan through the cowl, and what comes back doesn't make immediate sense. The cellular density in this thing is wrong. Massively wrong compared to any organic structure on Earth. Here's the light version of what that means. There are animals on this planet called tardigrades, also known as water bears. They're microscopic, and they can survive the vacuum of space, radiation levels that would kill a human instantly, and pressures 6 times deep.
They're basically gods. When you think about it, like cockroaches and those mites or whatever they are, they're godlike in a way where they can survive everything. They're always here, no matter what. So, and in that case, if you wanted to see some form of god in IRL, like those things are definitely as close as it gets to a god, like a cockroach or those mites or whatever, you know.
Than the deepest ocean trench. They do.
And maybe the Despicable Me minions are built like that. Maybe that's why this is a thing too.
This because their cells can essentially shut down and compress into a state that's nearly indestructible. Now, scale that biology up to something the size of a small child, add a layer of cellular density that makes standard Kevlar look like tissue paper, and you start to get close to what Batman's looking at. Blunt force won't work. Bullets won't work. The biology isn't just tough. It's built to absorb kinetic energy the way foam absorbs a punch, dispersing the impact across the cellular network so dense that the force never reaches anything vital. Batman reaches for the containment cuff. The minion, completely ignoring him, reaches into its overall pockets and pulls out what looks like a toy. It isn't. Batman's thermal sensors spike a half second before the grenade goes live, and that half second is the only reason he makes it out. He fires the grapple, punches through the vault ceiling, and clears the blast radius as the room below turns into a fireball. The explosion takes out 3 floors of structural support. Batman lands hard on the dock outside, armor scorched, ears ringing, watching through the smoke as the minion walks out of the rubble completely fine, dusting soot off its overalls like it's just spilled a drink. Then it reaches into another pocket, pulls out a small communicator, and says something in that garbled half language they use. One word comes through clearly, a name Batman's never heard before: Gru. The signal pings northeast, the Gotham docks, 4 kilometers away. Batman checks his armor status. Compromised in 6 areas, 2 of them structural. He starts moving anyway, because whoever Gru is, he already has Penguin, and he's expecting Batman to show up. Tier of survival, A. Batman escaped the explosion. He did not contain the target. The biology of chaos. Gru is already on the docks when Batman arrives, standing under a single floodlight, arms crossed, wearing a gray scarf in 40-degree weather like it's a fashion statement. He's not hiding. He's not flanked by minions, at least not visibly. He just looks at Batman the way someone looks at a taxi that's running 2 minutes late, mildly annoyed, completely unbothered. He's here to steal the Wayne Tech multiversal portal generator. He explains this politely, waiting for an answer. Batman throws a batarang instead, an explosive one. Gru steps left. Not dives, not rolls, steps. The batarang detonates against a shipping container behind him, and he's already facing Batman again. Scarf still straight. Now, to understand why that matters, Gru has, in canon, dodged heat-seeking missiles, not avoided the blast radius, physically outmaneuvered the tracking arc of a guided projectile.
USA Safe Pilot,
yeah,
rewards safe drivers with up to
impressive.
30%
That's
off
an
your auto
impressive
insurance
feat, I
premium.
guess.
Projectile. A standard heat-seeking missile reaches roughly Mach 1.5 in flight, and his reaction window to break a lock is measured in fractions of a second. A batarang travels maybe 40 meters per second. For Gru, that's basically stationary. So Batman switches tactics and closes the distance, which is the right instinct against a ranged combatant. It's the wrong instinct against Gru. One punch. That's all it takes. Gru.
Wow. Okay. So Gru is actually, again, these characters, like child story characters, are very strong, like really busted. Yeah, you wouldn't think that, right? You wouldn't think that, but these guys are nothing to play with. For
Gru's fist connects with Batman's chest plate, and Batman goes through the side of a steel shipping container. Not into it, through it, out the other side, landing in a pile of loose cargo netting 12 feet away. To scale what just happened, Gru has, on record, punched a great white shark hard enough to send it airborne. A great white in that size range weighs close to 1,000 kilograms. The kinetic output required to do that isn't superhuman in the loose comic book sense. It's genuinely extraordinary by any physics-based measure. We're talking about several thousand newtons of force delivered in a fraction of a second. Batman's armor absorbed the hit, and he's still conscious, which says something about that suit. But the suit has now taken damage in 9 areas, and he felt that one. Batman goes quiet. He disappears into the shadow between containers. And Gru does something interesting. He doesn't chase. He pulls a weapon from inside his coat, a wide-barreled pistol that looks like it was designed by someone who'd never seen a gun but had one described to him over the phone. The freeze ray. The thermodynamics here are actually pretty clean to follow. Standard cold weapons, like cryo grenades or liquid nitrogen sprays, drop temperature over time. The freeze ray doesn't cool things down. It halts molecular movement almost instantaneously. Temperature at the molecular level is just kinetic energy, atoms and molecules bouncing around. Stop the movement, temperature drops toward absolute zero in seconds. Batman's armor is rated for extreme cold, but extreme cold means Arctic conditions, not near 0 Kelvin. The material starts to contract and fracture. Batman fires the EMP from his gauntlet. It does nothing. Gru's tech is pure analog, relying on gears and chemical fuel. With no digital components, the freeze ray is completely immune to electronic warfare. Batman breaks the ice layer with a thermal flare and drops into the bay. He swims east, under the dock, putting reinforced concrete between himself and the docks. Behind him, he can hear Gru saying something to his communicator. Calm as ever, Batman pulls himself onto a maintenance ladder 200 meters downstream. Armor at 40%. No containment achieved. No effective weapon found. But he has the combat data now, in one night, to use it. Tier of survival? C. He survived. Everything else went wrong. The countermeasure. Batman locks a captured minion inside the Batcave's high-pressure testing chamber. He subjects it to kinetic shock, thermal extremes, and neurotoxins. The creature just hums. The biology is untouchable, but the tardigrade comparison reveals a weakness. Near indestructible cellular density fails if you can't move. Tardigrades survive vacuums by compressing and going dormant, lacking the structural leverage to break out of restraints. The minions are durable, but if you lock their joints and remove their footing, durability becomes irrelevant. Immobilized is enough. Batman synthesizes a rapid expansion polymer foam, the kind of compound that sets in under 2 seconds and generates roughly 800 kilograms of outward pressure per cubic meter as it hardens. A minion caught in it isn't getting hurt. It's just not going anywhere. He loads 60 canisters into the Wayne Enterprises ventilation grid and sets the trigger to a pressure sensor on the lobby floor. The second problem is the freeze ray. His armor's thermal management failed because it was designed for external cold, not instantaneous molecular arrest. He strips out 2 layers of the chest and gauntlet plating and replaces them with a resistive heating mesh running off a dedicated power cell, separate from the main suit systems. If the freeze ray halts molecular movement on contact, the mesh generates enough counter-current thermal energy to
That's kind of cool. I like that he has like a superheated suit or something, or superheated parts on his suit so he can counteract the cryogenic freezing. Like, that's kind of dope.
The suit's material above the fracture threshold. It won't stop the beam, but it'll buy him time to move. Gru hits Wayne Enterprises at 3 a.m. The minion swarm comes through the lobby doors, windows, and one spot through the ceiling that Batman genuinely didn't anticipate, and the foam triggers across all 3 entry points simultaneously. Within 4 seconds, the lobby is silent. Dozens of minions are sealed upright in hardened gray polymer, blinking, still trying to hum something. Completely unable to move a centimeter, Gru comes in on a hover bike through the executive floor window, which is a detail Batman had accounted for. The freeze ray fires. The mesh holds. Batman feels it. The temperature pull is brutal even through the counter heating, but the suit stays intact, and that half-second of stability is all he needs. The sonic disruptor fires at the weapon's barrel housing, and the freeze ray cracks along the resonance frequency of the casing material, splitting clean at the power coupling. Gru stares at the broken weapon in his hand. Tier of survival? B. The prep worked.
B.
The fight isn't over. The shrink ray protocol.
The shrink ray protocol.
Gru reaches into his coat. What comes out is the shrink ray. Batman knows the Wayne Enterprises R&D file. This weapon can press the moon by reducing the space between atomic structures, but the file also notes a fatal mass stability flaw. The effect is temporary. Whatever shrinks eventually expands back to full size violently. It's a ticking clock. The first beam hits a load-bearing column 6 meters to Batman's left. The column goes from 40 centimeters wide to the diameter of a pencil in under a second. The ceiling above it groans and drops 2 inches before redistributing the load. Batman moves. He fires the grapple up into the exposed ceiling grid and swings wide, letting the second beam pass through empty air where he was standing. The problem isn't the beam's speed, it's the targeting. Gru tracks him the same way he tracks everything, with the reaction times we already established, making long-range avoidance nearly impossible. Batman can't just keep swinging. Eventually, one of those beams clips him, and he doesn't know what compressed Kevlar titanium composite does to the person wearing it, and he's not testing it. He can't block the beam. He can't outrun the targeting, so the weapon itself has to stop working. Batman reaches for the smoke pellets on his left gauntlet. Not standard pellets, but the heavy metal particulate variant he uses for optical disruption against laser targeting systems. He drops 4 of them simultaneously, and the room fills with a dense metallic haze that hangs in the air like a curtain. The shrink ray's emitter dish works on a focused beam principle, which means the particulate cloud scatters the projection before it can cohere into a tight enough stream to compress a target. 2 more beams fire into the smoke and disperse without hitting anything solid. Gru sweeps the dish trying to clear the haze. He's looking forward. Batman drops from the ceiling grid directly behind him, gets both hands on the power cell panel, and drives the full charge from the taser gauntlet straight into the green cell. The overload isn't immediate. There's about a half second where the weapon's internal systems try to compensate, and then the feedback arc blows back through the handle. Gru goes down hard. unconscious before he hits the floor. The shrink ray is in 2 pieces beside him. Batman stands in the smoke-filled wreckage of the executive floor and looks at what's left. Gru out cold. Dozens of minions locked in foam downstairs, still humming. The portal generator in sub-level 3 untouched. He defeated the equipment because the biology was never beatable. Tier of survival? S. He adapted. He didn't just survive, he won.
Okay.
The portal generator powers down with a sound like a long exhale. Gru's in containment. The minions are cataloged and sealed. Physics is technically restored to Gotham for now. But if one man from another universe carries weapons that compress moons and a workforce that laughs off gunfire, the question isn't whether Batman survived this, it's what comes through the next time the portal opens. Subscribe to Nerd Science for more multiversal battle breakdowns, and drop a comment telling me who Batman should fight next.
And now we need Batman versus the Incredibles, because the Incredibles are washing Batman easily. There's just no way Batman survives the Incredibles. In my opinion, you guys let me know down in the comments below what you guys are thinking. Hit that like button, hit that sub button if you haven't already. This was awesome. I wasn't expecting this. Could Batman survive Gru and the Minions? I kind of like that he's gonna start doing these too as well. This seems like Nerd Science is just gonna be like a multiversal battle coliseum that we could just watch and enjoy. The Minions, yeah, dude. I never thought of the Minions like water bearers, whatever you call them, or cockroaches. They're basically like cockroaches, right? So they're godlike.